Bleh. So what kind of equipment did you guys record on, and what kind of reverbs and the like were you using? Trent says we recorded nearly everything we did on a rack mount cassette 4-track. That's it. 4 tracks on a cassette. Despite those 4 tracks, we recorded things live and mostly pre-mixed on 2 tracks. What does that mean? What they recorded it live. So like many great records, like the self-titled Bad Brains first LP, like Funhouse by the Stooges, like every Frank Black solo record, these things were recorded live in a room. Typically, if you're lucky or if you're trying to do it right or clean, when you're recording, you're isolating your instruments. All the Misfits were recorded live. So you're isolated in your booths and whatnot, and you're capturing the performance. And then you go back and maybe you do some, depending, you do some light overdubs. And when he says recording live and then mixing pre-mixed onto 2 tracks, that means that they're recording live, but they're recording 2 separate tracks live at the same time. My guess would be instruments on 1 track and then the vocals on another. So that way you can actually have some control and push the vocals up or down in the mix as needed. I think this is cool as fuck. Like if I had a band or if I was, making music, I think I would want to record on some level like that. Why? Because there's, again, it's like capturing magic. It's like capturing energy. Like practice, get really good, really cohesive at playing the song live in a controlled environment and then fucking laying it to tape. If you want to turn white as a sheet and have your mouth dropped open in disbelief, go listen Frank Black from the Pixies, Black Francis, listen to his solo band, Frank Black and the Catholics. Those guys, all of those albums, all of those songs were recorded live to tape. Sometimes 2 tracks, sometimes 1 track. They were recorded live to tape. What you are hearing is a live performance in the studio, and it doesn't sound like it. They were so good. They were so tight. They were such masters of their instruments that the Catholics were able to somehow like magically cohesively put these songs together. And again, the process of how Frank Black would record live to tape, searching for authenticity, something that dates back to the Pixies in the sense that when they were asked to do music videos, they were like, we refuse to lip sync because it's not genuine. There's nothing authentic about that. So when you watch Here Comes Your Man, they just open their mouths almost in protest. So when it goes, here comes your man, he just goes like this. And it's done as a way, because like we're going to be authentic. We're going to be true to ourselves. And lip syncing is not true to us or to our music. So we are going to make a mockery of it. Again, this idea of recording this way that Trent is talking about, 4 tracks, recording things live, and then pre-mixing on 2 tracks. And by pre-mix, he means, okay, this is crazy. I love this shit, man. When he's saying pre-mix, because I was saying 2 tracks, generally when you're done with the recording, you mix, you boost the levels up and down of the vocals. Elvis, all of Elvis's early from like 1956, that self-titled record, that's all done 2-track. That was all live in the studio, 2-track recording. I believe Please Please Me was done on 2-track. I do not think Please Please Me was 4-track yet. Mind you, they recorded Please Please Me 10 songs in 18 hours in a single day. 4 other tracks were from an earlier session. So when he says pre-mix, he's saying, by pre-mixed, I mean I would manually ride the mixer during the recording and adjust the levels on the fly, like boosting the guitar track during the solo or turning it down when it sucked. That made it pretty damn easy to master stuff later. There wouldn't be a whole lot you could fix or twiddle with. When he says they're recording to 2 tracks, do they have the guitars on a separate track from drums, bass, and vocals? And organ? I don't understand why he's using guitar as an example instead of vocals. So on the guitar and maybe the vocals, he was mixing by manually writing during the recording, and then drums and bass are essentially untouched. I don't know. That made it pretty damn easy to master this stuff later, as there wouldn't be a whole lot you could do to fix or twiddle with it. Also, it left 2 tracks open to use for things like reverb. Okay, they are not using all 4 tracks. They are indeed using 2 tracks. We use the outboard reverbs and echo boxes occasionally, but the best reverb always came from room acoustics. What does that mean? It means the natural room that you're recording in. So you look again, I want to go back to the Pixies. Steve Albini recorded the album Surfer Rosa, and he recorded it in all sorts of funky places in order to get really unique sounds. He would record in bathrooms and hallways and all sorts of places. And that was how, back in the day, again, going back to Abbey Road, when you had, I believe the way that you got reverb was you had to have a resonating chamber, which the Beatles used to smoke in, by the way. So a resonating chamber, it's like a giant echoey chamber, and that's what physically shapes the sound that gets picked up by a microphone and comes out as reverb. Now it can be all done in a computer. But what he's saying is that the best reverb came from the room acoustics. Now, every single room, it doesn't matter what the size is. It does not matter what the size is, and it does not matter what the room is. Every single room has a sound. It has a sound when things are quiet, and it has a sound when noise is made with inside it, and it is unique. No two rooms are ever going to sound the same. So when you find a space that manipulates sound well when it's bouncing off of hard surfaces, it can create different frequencies of reverb or echo or whatever. And in this case, their reverb was the acoustics of a room. We always recorded wherever we could make noise for a few hours. The only time we ever recorded in a legitimate recording studio was at the BBC when we were in London. And that was for the legendary Peel sessions. Go look up the Mummies Peel sessions, another cover that they do. Probably my favorite Mummies cover, Mummy song, is called Baba Diddy Baby, and they do it for the Peel Sessions version. That is such a slice of heaven. There's a Baba Diddy Baby that they did on Death by Unga Bunga, not nearly as good as the one done in Peel. How fascinating that the Peel studio was the only time that they were actually in a real recording studio. Incidentally, this was the last time the Mummies ever recorded. You can blame John Peel for that. Okay, I did not know that. It's the last Mummies recording ever, which makes sense because it was 1994, and that's when they broke up. Yes, that's right. They did High Heel Sneakers as well. Okay, so the track listing is, it goes The Fly, The Ballad of Iron Eyes Cody, Just One More Dance, Baba Diddy Baby, and High Heel Sneakers. And this is shocking to me. I guess Maz doesn't play on that recording. It's actually a guy named Kevin Beasley. I did not know that. I had a feeling it was 5. I was just trying to remember what that middle one was. And it's Just One More Dance, which is also crazy. So the only time we ever recorded was at a legitimate, it was at the BBC when we were in London. Incidentally, it was the last time the Mummies ever recorded. You could blame John Peel for that. Anyway, Mike of the Phantom Surfers used to work in this huge concrete and steel furniture warehouse, which is where the first couple of singles were recorded. Later on, our rehearsal space, which was the other place we tended to record, didn't have the best acoustics. So we would record, then blast the record through. Okay, this is awesome. So we would record, then blast the recording through an amp in the bathroom or hallway with a strategically placed mic and re-record a spare reverb track. And we always had the Fender outboard reverb units sitting around, since 3/4 of the Mummies were in the Phantom Surfers at some point. This is so cool, man. I love this shit, man. I love this shit. So they would take their recordings and blast the recording through an amp down a bathroom or a hallway, and then re-record the whole thing so that it created a spare reverb track or created reverb in the process. That's so cool. That's going to sound cooler than anything you're going to try and do in the studio. But it seems that they did care about acoustics. They're saying, hey, we didn't have the best acoustics, so we would go here, we'd go there. So they used echo plexes on a couple of tracks, and I had this really great K reverb that sounded like complete horseshit. I gave it to Darren from Supercharger years ago when I was through with rock and roll. I think that's what we used for the guitar solo on A Girl Like You, but cranked through an amp in a very large bathroom and re-recorded. My advice is to save your money and fuck them expensive reverb units. That's the budget rock way. It's this re-recording method that gives you the sound that's on the verge of completely falling apart and into utter oblivion. It's priceless, and at the same time, it's worthless. I feel like it makes it extra special in a way.